Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this school year. And thank you for the flexibility to allow me to share information with you on video. My email is on the first screen and on your PowerPoint handout. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can also ask Jill and Amy. So my name is Barb Safaris. I think I had the opportunity to meet a lot of you when I came, and Jill gave me a tour, and I was able to meet some of the students and some of the staff. So thank you for the opportunity to share information about the one-page description from Charting the Life course. So this presentation is provided by the Family Resource Network of Ohio. We are Ohio's official hub for Charting the Life course. We have a website. I'm going to show you some screenshots later. It's frnohio.org. When you go to the website, there's a pop-up. And if you sign up, you'll be notified of all the presentations that we do. We do several live presentations, sharing information about different tools. I'm sharing only one tool today. There are probably over 50 tools in Charting the Life course. We also have a Facebook page, and that is where we post stories of how people in Ohio, students, people with lived experience, families, professionals across multiple service systems are using Charting the Life course. And we are able to provide this without cost due to the generous funding from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce and the Department of Developmental Disabilities. Before I introduce myself, I want to thank one of our FRNO staff, Erica Young, who is videotaping this so that you can see it on Monday, and thank her for all the help. So thank you, Erica. My name is Barb Safaris, for those of you that did not meet me or did not see me at graduation. I am a sibling. You see me in a picture with my youngest brother, Nick, at the Rock Hall in front of Cleveland. I have worked with people with developmental disabilities for over 50 years. I retired from the Cuyahoga County Board. I was a SLP, an SSA, and I had a variety of other roles supporting people at home, at work, in school, and day programming. So today I'm going to quickly share just some background information about Charting the Life course, the core concept and our 7 principles. In other words, why we do our work. I'm going to walk you through the one-page person-centered description. And as I talk about the one page, I'm going to tell you to write the information about yourself on your one page. I think you have 2 copies or a hard copy, and you will have access to an electronic copy that is a PDF fillable that you can type on. And then we'll talk a little bit about how you think you might use the one page for yourself, but also with students at West Central. And then I'm going to share some resources on how to develop a one page. So talking about the one page description, it is a person-centered tool. It was developed probably close to 30 years ago. And Charting the Life course has included it in all of its portfolios. So I'll share with you what's on it, how it's developed, and how you can use it. It actually is one of my favorite tools because I think it has so many valuable uses that I'll share in a minute. You have 4 handouts. You'll have the PDF of the PowerPoint. You'll have a one-page description template, or maybe 2 copies, I'm not sure. You'll have the one page with guidance that I'll talk about, and a one page with guidance for families. So as you think about how you might support students to develop their one pages and working with families, here's a guidance sheet that you can actually give parents or families. And so as you're having that conversation, they know what you're asking and why. So Charting the Life course has a core belief, why we do what we do and what we believe. We believe all people and their families have the right to live, love, work, play, learn, and pursue their life aspirations in the community. We don't say just people with disabilities, but all people. So we have 7 principles. We can apply the tools and the principles to all people across the lifespan, across abilities. So I've worked with families and used the one page and other tools, families of children under 2. But I've also supported people who are supporting their older parents in their 90s and have no DD diagnosis. They may be dealing with other concerns, physical and cognitive. We believe the person exists in the context of family, whether that family is biological or chosen. We believe people should have a vision of their future and life experiences across the lifespan. So think of your transition kids. What do they want to do after school? And are we giving them experiences and opportunities? We talk about 6 life domains, and these are really quality of life areas. If you support anyone that has an Ohio ISP written by an SSA or a Q, you're familiar with these 6 life domains. We talk about 3 buckets of need and support. We all have needs, need to have information, need to talk to other people with similar experience, need to have things that will help us. And everyone we work with has these needs. We need to make sure we're supporting those needs or filling those buckets. We won't talk today about the importance of looking for services and supports, not just from the system, but from 4 other areas, so 5 areas total. And we believe that people and their families should be part of developing change, not just being updated about it. So let's get down to the one page. In our field, we use lots of words. And we know in our lives that the words we use convey our values and beliefs. I am amazed every time I talk to a family and ask about their loved one, how they first start the conversation. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a mom in Massachusetts, and she said, where should I start? And I was providing some advocacy support to her. And I said, tell me a little bit about your child. I did not know if it was a daughter, a son. She started by telling me the diagnosis. I still did not know. Daughter, son, age, name. She continued to talk about what her concerns were. I still did not know. Name, daughter, son. We have taught parents to talk about what brought them into the service system, not who the person they love is. And I had to stop her and say, so do you have a daughter or a son? I asked her the name. She didn't tell me at first. I said, how old is she? Well, she's 14, because there's a difference if this child is 3 or if this child is 22 or older. So we have to switch. If we want people to be seen as valued members of their community, we need to switch and look at the words we use. So are we talking about people as being needy, or are we talking about what they contribute to their community? I hate the word independent. We use it a lot in our service system, but the reality is none of us is independent. So I like to use the word interdependent. And are we talking about people's needs or how to support them? So here's the one-page person-centered description. And it really helps us shift how we talk about people. This is a way to present the person as a human being, not as a receiver of services. So the language we use is human-centric. It's not disability-based. You will not see a diagnosis on a one page. We don't talk about needs, but we talk about supports. And it's not, for those of you that have seen an Ohio ISP, it is not the same as the introduction page. Whenever we develop a one page, it's written for a specific purpose and it's written for the reader. What do they need to know? So somebody can have more than one page, more than one page description. I've worked with families who have written one for a new teacher, but they've also written one for the bus driver, because how you need to support the person on the bus is different than how you need to support the person in the classroom. So there's at least 3 sections. On the left, you'll see the national template. On the right, you'll see the template that we modified in Ohio to add a space on the top right where you can actually insert a photo. And on the electronic version, you can actually insert photo. I'll go through each of the 3 sections. I'll show you examples. And I just want to remind you that you don't have to use the template. Some people and families have used Word documents, but you got to have those 3 sections. And I strongly encourage you to always have a photo. Why? Because the photo conveys this is a human being, not just a bunch of words. So the first section, and as I talk about this, the one page, I want you to jot down notes as I talk about each of the sections about yourself, and you are writing the information related to what people you work with, including your coworkers and supervisors. What do they need to know about you in your work setting? So not about how you are with your family, but about you at work. So the first section, that light blue banner, is like an admire. What qualities do you admire about yourself in the work setting? And maybe what have other people said to you? Oh, you are so what? So here's a list of qualities. I actually had to ask my coworkers when we first learned about one pages. I had to ask them, what do you like and admire about me at work? And some of the things they shared, and I will tell you, it was hard asking people to give this information. But what they shared is now you're knowledgeable, helpful, patient, prepared, reliable, and available. So think about yourself at work. What would your coworkers say? What do you say? What qualities do you have and demonstrate at work? So jot them down. And remember, you are writing this to share with your coworkers at West Central, including your supervisors. So what do you want them to know about you? What qualities do you bring to your professional role? And then think about, have your coworkers said anything to you? I really appreciate working with you because you are so whatever. We're not talking about activities. You're a good teacher. You write good IEPs. Those are activities. What are your qualities? If you're a good teacher, what makes you a good teacher? What qualities do you demonstrate? Are you patient? Are you flexible? If you write good IEPs, what is your quality? Are you a good listener? Because your IEPs reflect what the family has told you, what the person, your student has communicated with you either through their words or through their actions. I'm a retired SLP, so I have never met anyone who does not communicate. So I'm going to move you on to the next section. Please, if you think of something else, jot it down on your one page. The second banner is, or second section is that orange, and it's what's important to you. So think about what's important to you at work. Here are some categories to consider. So what's important to you at work? My coworkers told me, and what I said is important to me is be on time. If you're meeting with me, be on time. It's important to me to be prepared. And it's important to me to have a variety of tasks. I liked being involved in different projects, and that was part of my job. But think about people. I did this once with a department of SSAs, and one woman shared, what's important to me is to go around, get to work early so I can go around and say good morning to everybody. One of her coworkers shared, what's important to me is to have those first moments quiet so that I can organize myself. So I shut my door so other people don't come around and talk to me. So, do you want to have lunch with somebody, or what's important to you about people and relationships? For status and control, um, you know, for me and in a school, I know it's different, but I appreciated having a flexible schedule. Um, Things to do and places to go. I already shared continues to be important is to do a variety of things, to be involved in different projects. Rituals and routines. Everybody has a ritual and routine everywhere. So what's your routine at work that's important to you? To me, it was to come in first thing in the morning and have that first 15 minutes to go to my cubicle, check my email, check my voicemail, and do my to-do list because I'm a paper person, and get myself organized for the day. Rhythm and pace. I'm a morning person, so I preferred having meetings in the morning. Um, what was important to me was to have more meetings in the morning than in the afternoon. But I also knew that I was going to have meetings in the afternoon because of the availability of other people. Things to have. This is going to sound terrible, but I like having my own pens and my own paper. Like I don't like Bic pens. And so I wanted colored pens. Purpose and meaning, being able to develop things and develop materials. And then my culture and identity, for a long time, I would not recognize that I was a sibling and what that brought to my ability to work with people and communicate with them. So think about what's important to you at work, what you want your coworkers and supervisors at West Central to know, and make a few notes. The next section, just a reminder, be very specific. I said having 15 minutes first thing in the morning. Don't use general terms like, it's important to me to have good communication. I don't know what that means. So what do you mean by good communication? How do you know it is occurring? What will you hear? What will you see? So receiving updates about any changes in a timely fashion. What is it that good communication means? And again, the things that are important to you are things that make the workplace make you feel happy, satisfied, and content at work? So jot a few things down. If you can't think of the specifics right now, make some notes and you can clarify in the future. The third section, the dark blue, is how to best support me. And this is not a list of your needs, but what you want other people to do. So I already shared with you that what was important to me when I worked full time was to have that first 15 minutes to go organize myself for the day. So what my coworkers needed to do to support me was don't start talking to me if you see my person, my laptop still on my shoulder. Another thing that they could do to support me was ask me if it's a good time before you start talking. Another way to support me, I told you it was important to me to always be on time, actually, to be early. And so the best way you could support me is to be on time. And another way is to not use excuses. If there's one thing that irks me more than someone who is late, is someone who's late and then starts telling me why they're late, because now you're doubly wasting my time. I'm trying to think. So think about what you want others to do, how they can support you. Not that they know that you want to be on time, but what do they need to do? And think about how important switching this from just knowing what's important to you to what they can do, an action verb. This is so important when we talk about one pages for people that receive services. You know, we'll often say what you need to know and do to support they have autism. Well, that does not tell me what I need to do to support them. What do I need to do? So look at some of the examples on the screen. These are what some people with lived experience and their families have said. So one woman said to her employer, when you teach me something new, tell me, show me, watch me, and then tell me how I'm doing. But you could also refer to other documents. Follow the behavior support guidelines. Don't tell me what to do, give me at least two choices. Remind me to wear headphones. One staff said to her supervisor under how to best support me, don't come up to me and say, come see me before the end of the day, because I will become so anxious that, oh my God, what did I do? And her supervisor was like, oh my God, I never realized that caused you so much anxiety. I just meant when you have time, come see me. Somebody else said, don't schedule meetings to review, performance reviews in the morning. I do much better in the afternoon. So you want it to be very clear about what other people need to do, not your needs, but what they need to do to support you. When you're working with students, you know that those kids 14 to 22 that are in that transition stage, part of the IEP process is to teach them accommodations. What do they need? What support do they need? What do other people need to do to support them so they can be successful in school and after school? So think about how to present information, how to teach, how to give options, what strategies to use, what not to do. So write on your one page again, jot things down if you can't think of the exact way to say it. You might want to think and spend some time after the session. So I'm going to turn it over to Jill and Amy, and they are going to facilitate conversations in the room to look at your one pages and introduce yourself to your coworkers. Okay, welcome back. I am sure that you had amazing conversations. What I have always heard is people saying to each other, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that about you. Or sometimes coworkers will say, well, but I like this quality in you and you didn't write that down. Or I think this is important to you at work. So let me show you some one pages that you can use. Again, I've said it, you don't have to use the form, but it makes it easier. This is a one page for my brother Nick, and it is to introduce him uh, to staff who would be supporting him. Now, I'm going to point out a couple of things. First of all, it says Nick the Greek. It doesn't say Nick Safaris. Why? Because that's what he wanted to be called. Under great things about him, his qualities. You see, there's not sentences, it's just bullets. Under important too, I tried to capture people, relationships, things to do, places to go, because this is a general one page. And under how to best support, you see it's in quotes. Why? Because Nick said these things. So staff who are supporting him and feeding him, they don't have to go through an hour course or whatever. Use a spoon, feed me, put the food on my left side between my teeth. Okay, it's right there. This is what you need to do. Put me on my stomach in bed with a pillow between my knees. Don't give me fruit or juice, and I'm most comfortable in my wheelchair. So you see, those are directions to people that are supporting him. It's a quick picture. It is a quick introduction to him. I told you I'd share some resources with you. So here is a one-page person-centered description with guidance. And it just reminds you like what to put in the different sections, how to word things. And you can use this as a resource as you move forward and to remind you of how to write things. I also developed a one page with guidance for families. So helping them think about, well, what would go on this? And so this is for families. So instead of what qualities do people like and admire, it's what do you love about your child? Now, let me tell you that a lot of times people, self-advocates, people with lived experience, when I ask them, what do you like and admire about yourself? They will tell me activities. I'm in Special Olympics. I paint. Those are activities. And please don't just stop and say, I asked them, that's what they said. But dig a little deeper to identify, help them identify their qualities. So if someone says to me, I'm in Special Olympics, I'll ask them, are you athletic? Is that what's inside of you? What makes you want to be part of Special Olympics? Are you athletic? Are you competitive? And people will say, what does that mean? And I'm like, you want to win. And I remember somebody said, of course I want to win. I was like, okay. Or are you social? You just like being around people. If they tell you you paint, they paint. Oh, what do you paint? What do you use? Oh, so you're artistic or creative. One gentleman, I was doing a side by side with a DSP at a day program, supporting a couple of people, and I was working with them. The DSPs were supporting them to identify what to put on their one page after I talked about them and gave them the framework. And afterwards, I asked the group, so what did you write? What did you learn? And one young man said, Barb, I'll share. I said, oh, good. He said, my staff told me I was compassionate. Barb, I never heard that word before. I said, so what does it mean? And the staff immediately, I told him, and I said, I'm sure you did. I said, it's okay. And he goes, Barb, she said that when I see somebody who isn't happy or looks sad or looks like they're not having a good day, I'll go up to them and I'll talk to them. And, I want to make them feel better. And I said, "So, are you compassionate?" And we were on Zoom and he sat up and he said, "Yes, I am." So think about that. What I have found is most people with lived experience can't self-identify their qualities because they've never been told. So as you move forward and work on with your students and the people who know them well, their families, the staff, think about what's the purpose. There's got to be a purpose because it will look different. Who's going to read it? Because you write it for them. And the one page is not a piece of paper that's put in a file. You can put it in the file, but it's a piece of paper that the person or the family hands to people as a quick introduction or a quick summary. You should use the one page when people are going to be around new people. So a lot of families will develop a one page before the school year starts for the new teacher or the new bus driver. When they're going to be in new environments, one mom wrote a one page for her son who was going to start attending a teen club at church. Another sister wrote a one page for her sister who was still in school only for lunchtime and how staff can support her at lunch. I've already mentioned bus drivers. If people are going out to volunteer or have opportunities in the community. I also have worked with families who have said, my teenager won't talk in their IEP. And so I said, how about if they do a one page? And when the team says, tell us a little bit about yourself, what are this is a great way to find a little bit about preferences and interests, and have them develop a one page. And when they're asked, tell us a little bit about yourself, they can either slide the paper across the table, they can read it, or maybe because they've written it, they feel more comfortable talking about it. So there are lots of different ways and reasons why to develop a one page with a student. Remember, they can have more than one. I want to show you some one pages just again, so you see the different ways they're developed and the different reasons. So Maxwell's mother developed this when he was 3 months old and she was going back to work, and now Maxwell was going to go to a sitter, daycare. Now Maxwell's a toddler. So now he's going to preschool. So mom wrote a different one because the audience is different. He's grown a little bit. Things are different in his life. I love this one. I love sharing Tyler's. Mom developed this one, and we don't even have to read it. If we're going to meet Tyler, we know exactly how to engage him. A lot of times people, when they develop their one pages, they want to put photos or memes or symbols. So I've worked with people who have put a picture of Mountain Dew because they love Mountain Dew. I've had people put NASCAR. They've put different characters from their sports teams. I forget what they're called, so Buckeyes, it might be Brutus, it might be from the Columbus teams, the Cleveland teams, the Cincinnati teams. A lot of people have put their favorite superhero or, from the action movies. So again, people can personalize it. Remember, the one page is a quick way to introduce people. It's an easy summary to read. It's one page. Families have told me they carry multiple copies in the car so that if they're going to a new medical professional or they're going to therapy and it's a new therapist, they have a copy to hand them. Make it simple. Doesn't, you're not writing an English paper. So use bullets, use phrases, doesn't have to be sentences. And I tell families, um, keep a copy in a plastic sheet protector, and families have told me they share it every time they go to the doctor's office. They do not assume that the doctor will reread it or review it before the appointment. Here's a one page that Trey's mom developed for his employer. There had been an event at work and she was notified about it and said, Trey, I think we need to sit down and write a one page for your supervisor so they know what to do. And he said, no, I don't think so. And she started by talking about what she loved about Trey. And then he sat down and said, make sure you write down that when I'm passionate about a subject, my joy is evident. She then said, what's important to you? And she got details, not friends and family, but who in your family. Uh, he named his kitty. Some of the games he liked to play. Why? Because she was thinking maybe a coworker likes the same games and will play with them. And how to best support me. Trey, how do you want people to teach you a job? What do you want them to do if you are getting anxious? And it's a to-do list. No, I'm literal. So when you talk to me, don't use sayings that don't sound like what they mean. How to teach him to do things, how to encourage him, help me know that things will get better. Or writing things down helps me keep calm and organized. This is Liam's one page. It's just for medical appointments. So it's very focused for those healthcare providers. This is Ella's. Ella had heard about a one page and she yeah, it's nice, it's nice. And then she was in a class at the Ohio State University. And part of the class, they had to start developing their one page, just like you all are doing. And they were told, think about where a one page might be helpful. And Ella shared that medical appointments were very stressful for her. So she started developing her one page. Unfortunately, later that day, she had to go to the ED, and I'm not sure, to be honest, I forget if it was the ED or urgent care. She took what she had written, she gave it to uh, the healthcare provider. What's important to her is to have information in writing. So the minute they came in, the doctor said, I understand you like things in writing. I've printed off some things for you. Also, when they went to draw blood, the second time, so let me back up. So she felt, oh my gosh, this really did help. But she went home and she said, there are some things I forgot to put on here. And when she looked at it and revised it, she decided to put a picture of her dog under what's important to her. Her dog, Arthur. And the next time she went to a medical appointment, she handed the one page again. The doctor read it before he came in. The person who drew blood, the nurse, came in and started talking to her about her dog. And Ella did not even realize that they were done, that they had drawn the blood, because she had been so distracted and they had provided the support that she said, this is how to support me. So it's a very powerful, it really changed her mind from, yeah, it's nice to, oh my gosh, they listened, they respected what I wrote, and they supported me the way I told them would be best. A lot of times our families will also say they've learned that it's important to have a one page for hospitalization. So again, here's one for my brother. A lot of the things are the same as far as what people like and admire, but what's important to him in the hospital was talking to me every day. What was important to him was, when you come in the room, tell me who you are, and I want to see the priest. How to best support me? A lot of the same, but now he couldn't use his laptop with voice output. So ask me yes, no questions. I can nod or move my eyebrows. I can't feel pain on my right side. That's real critical because what's one of the first questions they always ask? What's your pain level? And I'm going to turn this over now to um, Jill and to Amy. Well, Jill, I think, is going to talk about the one page that was developed with Writer. Okay. And now Jill and Amy are going to lead you in some discussions. Okay. So you've done that. You've talked about how can we do this with students, a little bit about your own one page and the expectation, your assignment. So now think about, do you have someone specifically in mind to actually help them develop a one page? Do you have a purpose like, oh, this would be helpful for this person? Or I will tell you that I've worked with day and residential providers, and a lot of them have developed one pages for people that they support in the group at the day program or in the classroom and residentially, perhaps in that setting, in that group home, and have put the one pages in a folder in a notebook with in plastic sheet protectors, and that's the subfolder. Or when they have new staff, that's the onboarding. They read about the person, but it's one page with a photo. And I don't know about you, if any of you have subbed. I subbed. I subbed for a county board school and I subbed in a residential setting. And somebody would give you a quick 2 minute, this person bites, this one spits, don't do this with this one. And then they'd leave the room and I'd be like, who does what? And think about the power of the one page as the subfolder or the onboarding. So again, just to summarize, our vision in Ohio to use the one page, and like I said, it's one of my favorite tools, is we want to convey who this human being is and what makes them valuable. We can't expect the community to say, oh, sure, yeah, if we're using words that talk about deficits and needs. And the difference between talking about who they are as a human being, what we value, what's important to them, and how to support them. I would be very offended if a friend of mine introduced me to a new acquaintance by saying, yeah, this is Barb. She's old. She's a little overweight. She needs glasses, when you get old, you don't see as well. I would be like, well, that's the last time I'm going to spend time with you, if that's the way you introduce me to someone else. So we want the one page to be human centric, to have a purpose, to be shared, and to include a photo. And I ask people, what photo do you want to include? We don't want it to be demographic. There's enough demographic paper out there. It's not a list of services, and it's not about the disability. I will also tell you that a lot of day providers and residential providers have stapled the one-page person-centered description to the emergency medical form so that if someone gets transported, the first responders and the staff at the ED not only get the demographic information, but they get that one page about who this person is and how to best support them in an emergency medical situation. So there's lots of ways that the one page has been used in a school setting. Again, a summary. It's great for an introduction. Some employment specialists have had people develop their one page, and that's part of their resume. So when they go on an interview, they'll hand the one page over. I've had people develop a one page when they're interviewing providers, even families to write a one page if they're interviewing a provider for healthcare appointments, hospitalizations, when people are volunteering or going out and having employment experiences or work experiences. Again, when someone is with new people, a new environment, or a new experience. So to summarize the 7 guiding principles of charting the life course, we always talk about the person in the context of family, because families across Ohio and nationally provide a lot of support that we can't as an agency or a system. That there are 6 domains or quality of life areas that we want to talk about. There are 3 buckets of needs and support, that we talk about integrated supports across the lifespan, and having a vision of what do people want? What is a good life for them? What's their goal or their vision? That this helps all people, and that we want people and families to be involved in developing procedures, processes, legislation, not just being updated. So I want to share screenshots of our website, frnohio.org. When you go to the website, there will be a pop-up asking you to sign up if you want to get notification. If you go to the tab that says Charting the Life Course, you will see JPEGs of many of the tools from Charting the Life Course. You'll see the person-centered description that is PDF fillable, and you can insert a photo, and also the person-centered description with guidance. And there should be the person-centered description for families, how to support families to complete it. There's a page called Education, and it has videos that were developed for students and families and professionals. And then there's a videos page that has videos of a lot of our presentations. So if you want to watch a video specifically on the one page, there's a video there. And I thank you for your time, for your grace to support me to be there by video. And we would appreciate your feedback. So if you would take a moment and either use the QR code or the link on the screen. And we appreciate your feedback. We use your feedback to refine, update, develop our trainings, and also to share with our funders. So we would appreciate your feedback, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you for all you do to support your students and your families, and have a great school year. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.